Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
So Rashid Khan is a well-recognized business leader who's been awarded at multiple global platforms for his commercial and social initiatives which have created transformational impact. He's a serial entrepreneur who aims to radically transform the current security and emergency solution industry globally. Former police liaison officer, emergency manager, founder, and CEO of Evocation, a 10x speaker, and recently inducted to the top 50 Australian Professionals 2021, featured in Yahoo News and finalist for the CEO Magazine Startup Executive of the Year 2021. And he's going to be talking about being response able saves your life. So welcome, Rashid. Over to you.
First of all, thank you so much, Isaac and David, to give that pump of energy and enthusiasm to the stage. I loved your speeches. My speech is a little different. It's in relation to something very important and very life-touching. So brace yourself from the emotional things you have gathered through Isaac and David's speeches, everybody. Have you ever been involved in or witnessed any emergency? There is a sickening adrenaline rush of fear, panic. It's terrifying. It's chaotic. Do you remember the panic and chaos? Any emergency, whether it's a car accident, a fire, a robbery, or a terrorist attack, profoundly impacts the lives of people involved. It is unforgettable. It is life-changing. If this happened to you, would you know what to do? There have been many behavioral studies on non-humans of what happens to us in emergency situations. Some people simply freeze. Some become selfish, and some become real-life heroes. It was 10th of April, 1988, in my hometown, Rawalpindi, Pakistan. I wasn't feeling well, so my parents let me stay at home. Suddenly, I started to hear these unfamiliar noises ringing through the air. It felt like rockets flying past. And there was then explosions. I ran outside. The feeling of chaos was already thick in the air. Across the street where I lived, there was a small primary school. And I could see children screaming. They were running everywhere, scared and lost. No one was providing any guidance or direction. My instinct kicked in, and I began to gather these small children, and I started guiding them towards their homes, towards the safety. It took me an hour and a half. And my parents themselves really panicked. They were looking for me everywhere, and they were really relieved to find me safe. That day, an ammunition depot exploded in my city. Over 1,000 people were injured by 10,000 tons of ammunition. 93 people lost their lives. Ammunition was not the only thing which killed people that day. Miscommunication or no communication at all was another one. Even as a child, I could see that people were not response able due to miscommunication. And that led to chaos. I moved to Australia in 2005. After performing different roles in security and risk, I was placed in a position of an emergency manager for one of the big four banks. I was responsible for 37,000 staff in any emergency situation. I began to see more and more clearly how this clear communication is imperative to saving lives. But I also started to see some gaps in communication. The more I understood, the more I researched, the more I found the purpose to be able to help people in emergency. This led me to work to help save lives in emergencies and ultimately create something which can save lives at a global scale. By 2014, I founded Evacuation. It's a comprehensive web and app solution for emergency management. The nature has strange ways to keep you on the path of your purpose. It was 20th of January 2017, a beautiful sunny summer day in marvelous Melbourne. As my team returned from lunch in our office, we heard screaming in the street. We saw a red car driving on the footpath, and people were just flying everywhere to get over this flying car. The police vehicles appeared from that side. Bang, 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 and the car brakes screeching. 6 lives were lost that day, including a child and a 3-month-old baby. Dozens were injured in the middle of the most livable city in the world. That incident brought me right back to see my purpose clearly. And that was to create a channel of communication in a running emergency. I decided to dedicate my life to create a solution to saving lives in any emergency situation through the power of real-time data, communication, and to make people response able. We live in the most volatile times of emergencies and crises. Most disasters which could happen, they have not yet happened. Today, we have to be concerned about the disasters more than ever before. Look at the numbers. In last 30 years, 2.4 million people have perished. And that's the population of the 3rd largest city in Australia. We are talking about Brisbane here. The economic losses for these natural disasters have more than tripled. At a global scale, we have lost $1.2 trillion. That's the GDP of Mexico. Between now and 2050, we will double the number of people exposed to these disasters. Today, I will show you how you can become response able. And what is response able? It's the ability to respond effectively in emergencies. So by following a simple framework, you can save your life and the lives of your loved ones. It's a framework called MPR square. Mitigate, prepare, respond, and recover. So mitigate, it starts with the power of awareness. Are you aware of the dangers around you? Are you aware of the mitigation plans you can make? It's very simple to make. You don't need to spend too much time and money to highlight the risks around you. For example, if you live in a bushfire area, you can remove the leaves, the dry leaves, to make sure that your house is safe. You don't need to spend too much money to identify these hazards and remove them. The second and the most important one is prepare. The government standards for any emergency preparedness and self-sufficiency without phone, without your power or water is 72 hours. So by preparedness for emergencies, you are reducing the risk and the strain on emergency responders so they can focus on the people who are most vulnerable in those emergencies. And within preparedness, always have a plan to evacuate, a plan to shelter in place. And within a plan, start doing some small things like preparing an emergency kit. And I really focus on these emergency kits because with these emergency kits, you can have enough power, enough small resources like water to make yourself that you're equipped. Remember, your hair dryer or hair straightener is not part of emergency kit. Always think about those 72 hours. By taking care of yourself, by preparing for disasters, you empower to help people around you. The third letter is R for respond. And that's where all the actions takes place. When we say respond, try to remain calm. Try to listen to the authorities. And limit the spread and the consequences of the disaster. All you need is a conviction to take action. And the fourth letter is R for recover. But once advised to habitate, be prepared for the restoration and resumption of activities. Don't be afraid to ask for help in recovery. Analyze the lessons learned and share it with authorities for future improvements of how to handle these activities. So remember, MPR square, mitigate, prepare, respond, and recover. So why wait? Far too often, we are unprepared for the disasters until it's too late. Ordinary people with the power of communication, preparedness, and plan can save lives. They become response able. Be response able. It saves your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rashid. Rashid, you are, I could hear your voice clearly, but towards the end, you got a little frozen for me. Can you see, are you here?
Yes, I can hear you guys, but I couldn't see my screen moving. So I was like in the middle of the speech and then I saw myself just frozen on one side. So.
Okay. So, so Rashid, I think everyone is thinking that you're the man we would love to have in an emergency situation. I think your communication and even your tone, it has a way of organizing the chaos. So really, thank you for being you and the work you're doing. And I really would like to chat more with you on this in a little bit. And I would like to share your certificate. So the World United presents the Certificate of Speaker to Rashid Khan for being an esteemed speaker in Global Transformation Festivals 2021 Australia. And I present this on behalf of Dr. Yugandhar and Grandma Brish. Thank you,
Thank you so
Rashid.
much.